Hi, I'm Joyce Stech, your inner treasure activator, and welcome. Yes, welcome to the Joyce Stech podcast show. Let's talk beyond the surface. And what are we going to be talking about today? It's our continuation of our debt alchemy. And today is about the currency of care. Are you ready? I am. When we stop sacrificing ourselves in the name of love, the next question becomes, how do we care without collapsing? Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Let's Talk. I'm Joyce Stech. And in our last episode, we stripped the guilt of service. Today, we're diving into what comes after the currency of care. Because if love isn't measured in sacrifice anymore, well, how do we measure it? How do we give without going broke? Emotionally, energetically, spiritually, mentally. Care is meant to circulate, right? Not to accumulate interest. So, we might have, and you might have, grew up believing that care meant carrying. What do I mean by that? I care about you if I carry your pain. Because if I'm not carrying your pain, then I must not care. Right? Carrying other people's pain, carrying the family's expectations. Our whole family were doctors, so you have to be a doctor too, because if not, then you don't really care about the family, do you? Carrying, or carrying the world until your back breaks and your light starts to dim. So now it's time to unlearn the emotional debt system of care. And, it's like care versus caretaking. One empowers people and the other enmeshes them in your life. So there's a big difference. And we talk a lot about, on a very spiritual level sometimes, of detached compassion. And I could tell you from just teaching and teaching very high spiritual teachers too, it's one of the hardest things to really get across. Like, you think you understand it, but do you really? Detached compassion is when I can understand what you're going through, but I do not take it on. I realize that's not mine. That is yours, and I don't entangle in it. I understand it, but it's not mine. Some people say, right, not my monkey, not my circus. Right? And not meaning it in a demeaning way, but actually saying like, well, I realize that's your stuff. You're responsible for that, not me. And not in an attitude type thing, but in a very sovereign type thing. Realizing, because what it does is empower somebody. I know that you can take care of yourself. I know that you can own this, and I know that you have the solution. And for me to do the solution for you is basically telling you, I don't think you can do this. And this is where we get into, people stepping into the codependency group, right? And that's enmeshment. And I have to take care of you. Why? Because you can't take care of yourself, or I believe you can't take care of yourself. And sometimes, I remember someone said to me one time, because I said, I was just doing this out of my heart, or I thought I was. And they say, Joyce, get down from the cross. We need the wood. So I'll just leave that one there. So in a place where I thought I was empowering people, in reality, it takes away from people. It really makes them weaker. So, empathy, if you have empathy for somebody, but you don't have boundaries, it actually turns into this extraction from others. If you don't have a boundary, it becomes this like, you owe me, right? You owe me, or resentment comes in it. Genuine care about an individual, includes you kind of in the equation of you knowing your boundaries. You're not stepping over it. You see the other person, and the other person has asked you for support, not for you to do it. I tell people a lot, there's a big thing for me about the word helping and assisting. And I will tell you, I will never help you. And they go, wow, that's pretty coarse and pretty rude. Really? I will assist you. Because I said there's a big difference when somebody says, "Can you help me carry the couch?" And they're not even in the room with you, and you wound up, schlepping the couch all by yourself. That's not helping somebody. That's doing it for them. Will I assist you? If you're on the other end of the couch, I'll be happy to go on the other end and make it lighter for you. Does that make sense? I want you to just sit with that on yourself. Helping versus assisting. I will assist someone who already is doing the work and ask for support to continue doing the work is a lot different than having someone asking you to do their work for them. And that's the difference between caring and caretaking, or taking someone else's burden on as yours. Because you know what? That's carrying other people's pain. It's carrying their work for them. And that's when it comes into manipulation and resentment and all these other negative feelings. So if you have boundaries, which we'll talk about in another episode, but if you have boundaries and you're very clear on them, like, I care about you, but I'm not going to do the work for you. I will help and assist you and support you. What are you doing for you? So when care flows in both ways, it starts to become currency. And that's the currency of care. When it flows both ways, there's a giving and a receiving, there's an assisting. Because when it only flows in one way, it becomes control. And who are the people that feel this the most? Here are some patterns. There's the healer who keeps fixing instead of witnessing. That's the beauty thing about coaching, right? So if you coach somebody, and people get really kind of PO'd off, like, so what do you think? So what do you think you should be doing? Like, what am I coming to you for? You're not coming to me to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you sort for yourself so that you believe in yourself, right? And so a true healer isn't in there like, oh, let me fix you. First of all, a true healer realizes they don't fix anything. They're just a channel for and allow themselves to be a channel for the healing itself, right? But it's about witnessing. It's about, you don't fix it for somebody. You witness them and give them the support they need to fix themselves. That's true healing. That's empowerment. How about the parent who calls burnout responsibility? I'm so tired. I can't do this anymore, but I have to do this. It sounds like a victim to me. And I call that like the drama triangle. And here's the victim or the martyr who eventually becomes what? The persecutor, right? Let's play the game. You're going to play all three roles eventually. Like, I'm burnt out because I'm such a responsible parent. Look at me. Wow. Okay. Is that really, is that really what it's all about? Is that genuine care? What about, because as a parent, I know, if I was tired and whatever, I can't have burnout as a parent. I can't go all the way out there and only do that, because what happens, you cannot give your kids anything. You want to be a great parent, be healthy. Teach them like, hey, this is how you do this. This is when I have burnout. This is when I cannot do anymore. This is when I am exhausted. This is how we do this. How about the friend who's everyone's safe place to be, but has nowhere themselves to exhale? Everybody goes to your friend. Everybody goes to that person because that person always takes on everybody's stuff. But where does that person go? Have you ever asked if that person needs anything? Have you ever asked the person who's taking care of you if they need some care? Or do you just assume this? What about them? I remember an instance with my mother, rest her soul, where my father was going through cancer and actually dying at the point, and my mother was pretty much a rock. And I remember her coming to me, and we were together, and she just kind of fell apart. She goes, I'm really tired. I'm really tired, Joyce, of being the rock. And I said, Mom, it's okay. And she goes, I know you're a rock too. So I know what it feels like. But I just can't be a rock today. And I said, Mom, you don't have to be. I will be the rock and I'm fine. So sometimes the rocks And I told her this. I said, sometimes, Mom, it's okay to say that you need an arm around you, that you need to be taken care of, and not in a sense of, as I said, like taking care of because you can't do this, but just to be recognized that you are a rock and rocks need a break every once in a while, and let someone else take that place so they could be the rock. It's an exchange, it's a give and receive. There's nothing to be gained by I'm the rock. That's that overburden. That's when it becomes something else, like, oh, look at this. I'm burnt out because I'm such a great freaking rock. I mean, who do you know in your life that's a freaking rock? And you go to them all the time. Do you ever ask them if they need someone to be a rock for them every once in a while? It's a give and receive. That's the currency. Because care flows both ways. That's currency. Get it? Current? What do you think currency is about? It's a current, which means it flows. Again, and when it flows only one way, guys, it's called control, manipulation, misuse of power. You know, if you're the only one keeping everyone else alive, that's not care. That's called captivity. And it's dressed as compassion. Now, I know this can be hitting really hard for some people. Go, oh my God, I really hate this episode. Who the hell are you? I'm just calling things to really start thinking about them. I'm here not to please you. I'm here to bring up some stuff. Like, it's called Let's Talk Beyond the Surface. And think about it. If you're the only one that is, you're the one that keeps everyone else alive, you might want to look at that. Because I don't know if that's compassion or captivity. Hey, let me know what you think. Send me your comments. Put them out there. Say, hey, Joyce, you said this, and let me tell you how I feel about that. That's like Q&I, right? A set of questions and answers. Let's do questions and insights that you had as you went through this. Stories that it brought up for you. Things that say, wow, I never thought about that. It happened to me one time when I actually took some time, and this was a while back, where I could not leave in my business. And I was the owner of a dojo and owner of actually 5 dojos at one time, down to 3, and then one of my own, right? And I remember leaving and said, I can't even leave. I would never leave my business for a moment. Talk about being enmeshed in something, right? That's the difference between an owner and an entrepreneur, right? So ownership, right? And I remember going to really work on myself and having to take, a moment's care. And I remember sitting in there and getting the aha of like, well, wait a minute, Joyce, if you cannot leave your business for 3 days, because if you came back, it would be gone. You know what? You probably don't have a business. And that was a huge revelation to me. And it's like this one. If you're the only one that's keeping everybody else alive, you might want to look at that situation. Because you're not keeping them alive because you care. You're keeping them alive out of what? I mean, you're actually a captive, and out of that, out of prison, causes so many other negative little energetics to form. So right now, if you could just want to place your hand on your solar plexus, that's your personal power center. And you could say this with me or just listen to it, see if it resonates with you. I release the pattern of overcare that depletes my life force. I release the pattern of overcare that depletes my life force. Breathe. I allow love to circulate through me, not drain from me. I allow love to circulate through me, not drain from me. And I am a steward of balance, not a martyr of maintenance. I'm a steward of balance, not a martyr of maintenance. And here, the frequency that I love to throw out to you guys through my royal gems, and those are emerald, imperial topazes, and energy there of restoring your heart intelligence with empowered intention. So inhale, receive, and exhale, release, and just let it land. There you go. So a quick little recap of today. Care isn't currency when it costs you your peace. And love multiplies when everyone invests, not just you. So in our next conversation, we're going to talk about boundaries as benedictions. So how to say no with love, yes with integrity, and build the kind of energetic economy where everyone thrives. So hopefully see you on the next Joyce Stech podcast. Let's talk beyond the surface when we talk about boundaries as benedictions. And again, things just to mention, everything I mention in each episode, if I mention courses, activations, rituals, if you want to continue on with Debt Alchemy, you'll always find it under one place. Linktree, smash Joyce Stech, or just go to my website. And everything, as I said, is under the name Joyce Stech to make it easy for you to find me. And that's your field guide to work. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm Joyce Stech, your inner treasure activator on Joyce Stech, the podcast.